He's not.
Mm.
We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those of you on the fence still figuring things out, welcome back to another episode of Derailed, courtesy of Arcaicskidz. I am, of course, Arcaicskidz, and we have Stacia. How are you?
Hey, nice to see you. Thanks for
You as
having me.
well. Yeah, why don't you tell everyone who you are that doesn't know?
Wow, I'm Stacia. Nice to meet you all. I'm a digital nomad and have been involved in the West Coast swing dance community, doing business and doing some teaching, and traveling the world for years now. Kind of grounded for a while with COVID, but hoping to start traveling again soon. And I'm starting Second Look News. Super excited about that.
That's what we're going to talk about to start the show. So this is going to be a digital media. Why don't you just explain what your principal idea is, what
Cool.
you're trying to do here?
So the basic idea is, how nice would it be to have a friend who would just, like a friend you can trust, who would just do the research for you, like go straight to the source, look at what's actually happening, cut through all the bullshit, and, lay it out for you with sources cited so you can, check, make sure they're, talking about the right stuff. And yeah, if they would just do that in a way that isn't divisive, like so many of the important topics today are kind of split between two opposing sides, right? You're either for this or you're against this, and they're butting heads. And often I found the solution is actually neither of them, right?
Right.
They're both almost distractions from the solution. So for example, like with healthcare, there's like Medicare for all, and then there's like more personal responsibility and free market kind of approaches. And they're arguing about who's going to pay for it, when really we need to look at, why is it so expensive in the first place? Like, we're paying twice as much as other wealthy nations for less effective care. Like, we're not even top in outcomes at all. So
well, I would push back on that. It depends on what we're talking about. Our
Sure.
bottom line medicine, it may not be, we may have some pushback from other nations, but we also have treatments that our results are exceptionally better than everywhere else in the world. So for cancer, for instance, our cancer treatment regimen in America is it's the best in the world. There's a reason that all these countries, their people, if they can afford it, and that's a big problem, come here.
Sure.
So
yeah, there are specific areas where we're doing really well, but like the overall health index, last I knew we were like about 30th.
Right, but let me ask you this, because obviously I know you've been doing a lot of research on it. How much of that is, a personal responsibility argument where America is fat?
Well, but also, we are fat, but there's also some conspiracies around. So have you heard of the conspiracy that they made fat bad, and then they replaced it with sugar? And
yes.
so there was like this whole campaign to, we need to get fat out of everything, and then the things they replaced it with are actually worse for us. And yeah, there's some, I don't know if it's
like high fructose corn syrup, which is awful for people.
Yeah, so I don't know that it's completely fair to blame Americans for their obesity when it's like I don't think anyone wants to be obese. I think it's like our.
I agree with that. What I meant was that some of that is still a choice. There is exercise and dietary changes that could be made, and people don't do that.
Sure.
I see that as a bit of a problem.
Sure. Well, actually, in discussions of how to change our healthcare system, some of the ones that I like the best are more about making, like, they include more than just once you have a problem. They also teach people how to live healthy lifestyles and have more emphasis on that preventative,
Right.
kind of.
So would it be your assessment that a lot of our issue is well, like you said, the public has been basically brainwashed, where you'll see, I love this. This is one of my favorite things, low fat. Yeah. It says that on stuff. And it's like, that doesn't mean what you think it means. Like, you can't eat diet yogurt and then think you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So is that a lot of it is marketing?
I'm super skinny and I do the fat version of everything.
Yeah. I always go with like when it says low fat, I'm like, I don't want that one. It's going to taste awful. Yeah. And
right.
So that's interesting. But I do look forward to having someone that's more looking at just, look, it doesn't matter. It's not a tribal thing. It's not a political ideology. It's what is the issue and how can we fix it?
Exactly.
So you'll never be in Congress. We know that now. You'll never be in Congress because that's not how it works in Congress. It's,
Actually, that's an article we're working on, is why Congress is like, how it's not working, like the systems within it that aren't functioning to be representative.
Well, and it just gets worse and worse. I absolutely despise the two-party system.
Yeah.
I also don't think we have two parties. I think we have one party.
Agreed.
And then there's some radicals in both, the sides, as they would put it. You look at my entire life, Republicans have been, well, we have to get rid of abortion. Yet abortion rights have only expanded. I'm sorry, abortion privileges, because that's a negative right. So I don't see, or a positive right, I don't see that as legit. But the Republicans have never done anything. And they've had the control, they've had the power to do it plenty of times, but they've never done it. You look at the left is guns, right? Democrats are always guns, 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 guns. They really haven't. I mean, a few states and cities have done some stuff, but for the most part, nationwide, it's not happened. And I mean, Biden's saying that he's going to do it again. I don't really see it going anywhere. I saw, who was it? I can't remember. Ryan Dawson made this great point that I'd never thought about. And they don't want to solve issues because they need something to argue about so that they can get their base riled up so they can get reelected, right? But also that they're not going to do anything to damage stuff that makes a lot of money. So, they're like, oh, sure, we hate this thing. They don't. But that'll be interesting to see how you guys discuss the congressional upheaval and what's going on there. Anyway, so this will be a subscription model, correct?
We don't want to protect any of the content. So like a lot of sites, they'll do, maybe you can see 2 free articles and then you have to start paying, or, there's a lot of things that use paywalls. We don't want to do that, since the whole point is we want to produce content that's important. And so we want people to be able to share it with their friends and stuff, even without the friends signing up. And so we're operating on a membership model. And each membership tier, like the whole concept of it is to get people engaged with their news. And so we believe, we want people's feedback, and we want, so the first tier is the discourse membership, and they get access to a discussion section underneath each article, so they can, discuss if they disagree with anything, if they found anything like counter evidence or whatever, like, they can discuss in the bottom. And it's protected, so I'm hoping it'll be like high quality discussion. And then tier 2, they also get access to a story submission portal where they can suggest stories that they'd like us to cover. So like, again, it's that concept of asking your friend, like, hey, did you look into this?
I gotcha. So kind of like open source research, open source material, but not like Substack, where it's like, oh, you get one free story and then you have to pay $10 a month.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't want to protect the best stories, from
Right. Right.
being widely spread. And then real fast, tier 3, they get a Q&A once a month with our writers.
Oh,
So
that's
like,
cool.
yeah, that's exciting, I think.
I've noticed that
Yeah.
a lot of podcasters are starting to do that, where they're opening up like to their members. If they set up member pages, they're starting to open up their inner life,
Mm,
Q&As,
mm,
barbecues. They're like letting
mm,
people come and actually meet their favorite creators, and I think that's
mm.
actually brilliant on their part. Like,
Yeah.
so having a live Q&A, or just a Q&A, I guess, maybe not live, but
Well, it'll be live, but it'll be through text. We might
oh, I got
explore doing it on Zoom eventually, but for now, just text. I think that's better.
Zoom.
Well, also we like that by text, people who can't make it live can still read through, what was discussed and submit
Right.
questions ahead of time and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah. Right on. So,
Yeah.
we'll talk about the dancing stuff, and maybe it'll all kind of lead together. But you have been a nomad for a
Yes.
long time.
Yeah.
I have questions about that, but why don't you just like what countries or how many countries are we talking about here?
Oh, I haven't really counted.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So I've been all over the US. I've been to Canada, Mexico, Nicaragua, and then in Europe, I've been to like the UK, France, Hungary, Ukraine, Italy, might be it. And then in Asia, like Japan, Korea, China, Singapore, Hong Kong, Bali, Malaysia, Thailand. Yeah, just all over.
So all over the place. Nice. Was
Yeah.
that for the dancing stuff, or was that just for something you wanted to do?
I wanted to be a digital nomad, and then, I mean, I would coordinate with dance events,
Mhm.
But yeah, so sometimes it was like, oh, I really want to go to this event, or I'm working this event, or stuff like that.
Mm.
And then sometimes it was just, I want to go.
Nice. That actually, I did want to talk to you about that.
Mm,
I think, and I don't. I'll get your opinion of this, but
mm,
one of the biggest problems I see in America
mhm.
is no, like I think it's something like I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's something like 20% of Americans have passports.
Well, really?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
we don't leave our country. Now, granted, our country's massive. There's 50 different countries essentially in the country.
Yeah.
And so you can see a
Mm,
lot of different culture, a lot of different stuff just here in America. But one of the things that I've personally considered or thought about
mhm.
as someone that has been all over the world, not for the same reason as you, but um, how much better. I've always thought, like when my son turns 18, which will be in 2 years. I'm so old now. But all of my children, that I want to be that parent that says, "Hey, why don't you go travel the world
Mm,
for a couple of months?
mhm,
Don't go
mhm.
directly to college. Don't join the military. Whatever. Go
Yeah.
go on a walkabout, basically.
Mm,
Visit a bunch of places. I think that would be really good for the younger generation here in America to see other countries. So when they're like, "Oh, your country's so terrible," it's like, well,
yeah.
I can show you some places that are much, much worse. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you think that would have? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I completely agree with that plan. Yeah, it was interesting actually, like just yesterday, there was a dancer, and he's Black, and he was asking like, what country should I go to that is better than the US, And so he was asking around to all these dancers, and they were trying to help him out. And I'm not sure he found somewhere because most of them were saying, actually, it's worse here. So I
Yeah,
think it might have been surprising for him because, I mean, yeah, kind of a bummer, but
Well, when you get propagandized too, that, oh, it's the most racist country in the history of ever. And it's like, I've been to countries that would make your head fall off when it comes to that.
yeah.
South Korea is one of them. Japan's one of them. Like, they're extremely racist there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, China
Yeah.
has commercials where they put black people in washers and they come out Asian. I'm just
What?
saying.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, I believe it, but wow.
So that's one of the funny things to me is people say, "Oh, it's the most racist country ever," and I'm like, "Have you ever been out of the country?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, because I don't think you have.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but going to like France or Great Britain doesn't count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, it just doesn't count, or Canada for
Yeah.
that matter.
Yeah.
You
Actually,
need
I
to
don't.
go
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just find that interesting. I think a lot of it is people don't. You know how many people think Mexico's a third world country? Like, for real. I get them all the time. They're like, well, you know, third world countries like Mexico. And I'm like, Mexico's not a third world country.
Is it developing? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
but it's like if you
Yeah.
go to Mexico City, you wouldn't know you weren't in America for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have electricity and everything. It's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
They have 5-star restaurants. They have great hotels and great accommodations.
The
But
toilets
it's
flush.
the toilets flush and everything, you know. Parts of Mexico are not as good, but
Hmm.
you know, Appalachia is not as good as you know
Mhm.
some parts in America. So,
Yeah.
but it's funny to me that people are like, "Well, it's third world country," and I'm like, "Where have you been in Mexico?" Well, I've never
Yeah.
been. Okay, then be quiet. You don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny to me.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
South America is the same way. Like people, for whatever reason, think, "Oh, all these countries in South America are just awful," and I'm like, "Have you ever been to one of them?" They're like, "No." Okay, then silence. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but that's both sides. I would say that
Mhm.
politically, that's both sides that
Yeah.
think that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like eh, they have cell phones and everything. They might have weird ways to get them, but they have them. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. They do. Yeah, I mean, I've been all over, and I feel like the only time that I haven't had running water was in Nicaragua, and it was like in a small, fishing village.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, or at an eco
Um,
hostel, like at those two places. But other
what's
than
the
that,
what? I mean, if you're anything like me, you don't have a favorite country other than maybe your own. But that's just, and maybe not even that one. Um, what's the worst country
the worst country.
that you were in? Yeah.
Oh my
What
gosh,
and or which one and why?
what? I don't know. Um, I will say I'm nervous to go back to Mexico again. It was the most stressful country to be in. Um,
Okay.
yeah, partially because of the men. I just was approached constantly. Like I couldn't go out anywhere without being like approached a lot.
Being
Um,
accosted.
yeah, just like yeah. So it was just
Hmm.
kind of stressful. Pretty
Right.
stressful actually. Yeah.
Right. I gotcha. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be my answer, but you know, you haven't been to some of the countries I've been to.
Right.
Um,
Oh, there are two I forgot on my list. I've been to Israel and Australia too. But yeah, so that's like the
well,
closest to the Middle East that I've been.
Australia's back to prison country now.
Right.
Their borders are closed, and they said they might stay closed indefinitely. Can't go out, can't come in. So they're
Um,
now a prison island again. I'm sure the
ooh,
Brits are happy about that. Um,
wow.
and Israel's interesting. Um,
Yeah, they are.
it's. I don't feel like a lot of I guess left of center people visit Israel. And all the right of center people are like, oh, it's the most beautiful place on earth. And I'm like, it's really not. Like,
Oh,
I've been to way
I
better, better, at least beautiful places than
yeah,
Israel.
it
It's a
wasn't the most
very
beautiful.
interesting place, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. And I was staying in Tel Aviv near the I don't remember what it's called, but there's like this big street that has huge trees lining the street. And there's like little cafes and stuff. So I loved that.
Yeah.
That was amazing. But yeah, overall it was kind of like brown and not super green or lush or anything.
Yeah, the promised land is a desert with no water. That's fun. Sorry, Jews, get over it.
But what I love about Israel is it's super entrepreneurial. I feel like almost everyone there is like doing something entrepreneurial. So that was cool.
Yeah, and they don't even have to light themselves on fire, so that's good.
What is that?
Oh. I think it was Egypt. Egypt just had a civil war not that long ago, which led to the military having to take over and like throw out the whatever boss guy and get a new one. And it actually started because there was a street vendor, a fruit vendor, that every day would get extorted by the police.
Oh.
And they would say, well, you don't have this, so you have to pay us money. And then they would take all his money, and he eventually got, they were ruining his life. And so he crawled on top of a building and he lit himself on fire. Whoa. And that was the precipice. That's what started the revolution in Egypt.
Wow.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so
yeah.
So you traveled all over the world. You want to go back. I did see something about you were supposed to go to Japan or something, and then that COVID kind of wrecked that for you.
Yeah. I had a flight to Japan, and then I had a flight from there to Korea, and then to the Philippines, and then I was going to go to Singapore. Like I had this itinerary, and then the night before the flight, I was in Portland, Oregon, and I was talking to people in Japan and Korea, and I was like, should I go, and ended up canceling the flight like 2 hours before it took off. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild because that was like months of, like I was going to spend the whole year in Asia pretty much, and had already planned out a few months. And so yeah, it was like, okay, what to do?
So you just canceled it, and then you're stuck in Portland.
Yeah, and then I caught a ride up to Seattle and stayed in Seattle for a few weeks. Yeah.
I've never been to Portland. I don't think I'd want to go right now. Maybe after shit calms down.
Yeah. Portland is so pretty. It's like one of the prettiest parts of America in my experience. But yeah, I really like the trees. It's like super green and like mossy and that kind of
that's green. Because it rains all the time.
Yeah.
Awful. But I don't like humidity. That's funny. No, actually, my wife has wanted to go up there for quite a while, but I'm like, well, yeah, just when they're done burning things down, then we'll go. Like, once they, calm down. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't think for a while. So you started, or you're starting your own digital media thing. How's that going to affect your nomadic lifestyle? When are you going to get out of California again?
Hopefully in the next few months. We'll see. I still need to figure out what to do about COVID. But yeah, hopefully soon. And I'm not sure where I'm going to go. Don't have plans quite yet, but
I see.
Yeah.
Well, having a digital business is really good for you in that situation, so that you can still, run around the planet or whatever. Yeah. I think COVID screwed up a lot of people's ideology. What are your thoughts? Because one of the things that I feel like is going to be absolutely certain is you're going to need a COVID passport. So you're going to have to get yourself vaccinated. Now, on the upside, the Pentagon apparently has got these little microchips they developed that they can put under your skin. And then, you'll be good. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if they'll give you a vaccine passport if you've had COVID.
I don't
Because,
think so.
well, in Israel they do.
No.
Um,
I
and
mean, it would
so
make sense.
exactly. So I'm gonna wait and see, and I might give myself COVID. I might be like
Just
licking
put
my
out a Facebook ad and be
yeah,
like, all
just
right,
sneeze,
who
cough
has
on me,
COVID?
cough on me.
Who has COVID? I'm coming over. We're hanging out. We're going to share a bowl of soup, and we're going to see what happens.
Exactly.
That's funny.
So,
I've
like,
actually, like, for a very long time, I didn't know anyone like that
oh,
had
who
had
had
COVID.
COVID?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and now there's a few people or whatever, but I'm like my aunts both went and got their first COVID shot or something,
Mm, mm,
and but they traveled the world a lot too, and so their
mm,
outlook on it was, well, they're also older,
mm,
so they're like,
mhm.
we get this thing and we'll still be able to travel, which
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I
she was
mean,
like,
I
don't give me
might
any
get
shit
it.
about getting it, and I'm like, I don't care if you get like, that's not a thing. I
Yeah.
don't want people to get forced to do it.
Yeah. Hmm.
So if
Yeah.
they do it on their own, good for you. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you want the zombie medicine? No problem.
Yeah. And
The Fauci
I mean,
ouchie.
you vouch, yeah, and I mean, I might decide to get it. I just need to do more research into it.
You are the research if you get it.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep seeing that on Twitter. People are like, "I did my research." I'm like, "You are the research." Like you don't know what you're talking about. You are the research. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the problem here's the thing that I don't know if this is just terrible messaging or what the deal is, but
Hmm.
they're saying, okay, you got to get this vaccine, right? And
Hmm.
when enough people get it, we'll achieve herd immunity, and then it can basically go back to normal. The
Hmm.
problem is, they're like, even if you're vaccinated, you have to wear masks and you have to social distance. And I'm like, why the hell are you getting this thing? It doesn't work.
So, no, I've been thinking about that. I have a theory for why they're doing that. Um,
Okay.
I think it's a white lie. So like with the mask thing, how at first they were like, don't wear masks. You don't need masks. They won't help.
Hmm.
And then they were like, never mind, you do need masks.
Yeah.
Well, that was because they didn't have enough masks and they were ramping up production and like trying to, like get enough masks for the doctors and stuff. Yeah.
I'm
Um,
gonna disprove that in just a minute, but finish your
oh,
thought.
really? Okay.
Of course.
Okay. And so it could be another thing like that where like in society, if you don't know if someone's been vaccinated or not, right?
Well,
And
you're gonna get a microchip, and we're gonna know.
well, but you won't be able to tell by looking at them,
No,
right? Unless it's
right.
like a tattoo
Don't give them
that's
ideas.
like right. Yeah, actually that could be cool. We could all have our little I'm just kidding. Okay. Um,
Don't go back to Israel after you said that.
so yeah, so I just it could be something where like it would be hard to know who has it and who doesn't, and it would be like hard to socially enforce people wearing masks if some people don't have to wear masks and some do. Like it would really make a distinction between the groups. So maybe like I could see it making sense socially that they would like advise that. Does that make sense?
Eh, eh. I mean,
You
I
don't like it.
understand I understand your thought process on it, but I think it also sends the opposite message of the vaccine doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
Mm,
And now they're coming out and saying, well, and like every year you're going to have to get a booster. And I'm like,
yeah.
then that's not a vaccine. That's a flu shot. Like, so
Mhm.
let's start calling it what it is.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the mask thing, I'm gonna prove you're
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know that Fauci came out and said that, and
Mhm.
said, "Oh no, it was because we didn't want to run out. We didn't
Mhm.
want everyone going out and everything." So
Mhm.
okay, you already started the conversation by lying to people. That's
Mhm.
brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're not making you wear actual masks like N95s.
Oh.
They're
Mhm.
like, here, tape this sock to your face and you're good.
Mhm.
That's not reasonable. So it's not because
Mm.
they could have simply said,
Mm.
look, guys, we think masks might work. Any kind of barrier could be useful. So, maybe make a cloth mask at home, something like that. But we need to keep these medical grade masks for the medical professionals until we got a handle on this thing. But that's not what
Yeah.
they did. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And they're still not saying that. So I
Mm.
think they just flat out lied. And they're like, social. I like the term social pressure and social control. That's what they're doing. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Because now they're like, oh, wear 2 masks, maybe even 3. I'm like, all right, guys. I love
Mm.
being a puppet master and being like, dance for me, puppets, but this is
Mm.
ridiculous. Like,
Mm. Interesting.
so, no, I don't think so.
Mm.
And the thing that gets me about the vaccination thing mostly, and then the people that like support this passport thing, that's like,
Mm.
oh, well, you can prove you've been vaccinated.
Mhm.
Okay, but why? And they're like, well, you don't have a right to put me in danger. Do you not understand how vaccines work? Like,
Mhm.
if it's truly effective,
Mhm.
an unvaccinated person cannot put a vaccinated person in jeopardy. That's the point. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Science is upside down now.
Well, I've heard it's for the people who can't get vaccinated. Like my friend in Israel was saying 30% of people in
Then give
Israel.
them the passport.
Oh.
Give them the tattoo that says, "Stay away from me because I don't want to get
Oh.
sick." You know what I
Oh, yeah,
mean?
that could be good. They could
No, don't
cool,
give anyone
yeah.
tattoos. Um, no, well, that's my biggest issue, honestly, is I don't want to be part of your research. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
mhm.
wait, we'll see
Well,
what happens.
so the thing that has me, uh, worried, I guess, is the way they blocked hydroxychloroquine, I'm
Hydroxychloroquine,
sorry, yeah, hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, like, there are these treatments
anything and everything.
that seem to be super effective. Like, there's a lot of research that is looking really positive,
Hmm.
and they did you hear there was, like, a fake article that came out? Like, it was literally fake?
Yes.
What? And then that determined global policy. Oh my god. And so it's things like that that make me nervous about the vaccine because I'm like, "Why? Like, this is
Who's writing this
crazy."
stuff?
Yeah, this is why are you trying to keep this from us with fake scientific articles? Like,
Well, what drove me insane too
hella
was that it was
suspicious.
like they knew very early on
Mhm.
that obviously comorbidities, weight was a big factor in
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Vitamin D was a huge factor.
Right?
Everyone that was like in
Mhm.
really bad shape had super low vitamin D levels.
Mhm.
Why are they not going, look, okay, first of all, why are you shutting down the gyms, you
Mm.
idiots?
Mm. Mm.
Like,
Mhm.
um, but I don't understand why the messaging wasn't, hey, look, this is different. It's new. We don't really understand it fully, but we do understand this stuff.
Mhm.
So, get you some vitamin D, which you
Mhm.
can get naturally. You don't have to have money.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
go outside.
Yeah.
Of course, they wanted you to stay inside, but,
Mm.
my point being, they didn't give any, these are health professionals not giving
Mhm.
actual health advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was infuriating to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
concerning,
what?
like, why?
Yeah. Why won't you tell people, like, okay, this may help you, it may not, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
there's some research that states that it might, and there's some that says that it won't, whatever. Whatever.
Mhm.
My point is, you could have been like, we don't really know. Just
Mhm.
say you don't know. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
hydroxychloroquine was the one that got me the most because they're
Mhm.
like, well, it could be really dangerous. And I'm like, we've been giving this to people for like 80 years.
Mm.
Like,
I think
and
maybe more. Yeah.
yeah, and we pass it out in Africa like Skittles.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, what danger? What are you talking about? But now
Mhm.
they're like, I'll just take this vaccine. It's like, well, what research is there? Nah, just take the vaccine. Like, so the 80-year medicine's dangerous, but this thing, no problem. That
Yeah.
seems odd to me. The messaging
Yeah.
is all over crazy land.
Yeah. I've been trying to get some hydroxychloroquine, and ivermectin, and all the doctors I talk to are like, no, it's dangerous. And
Get a different doctor.
I'm looking.
You're also in California, and that makes it more difficult for you.
I've been talking to doctors other places too.
Well, oh man, I'm spacing on his name, but he goes down to Mexico and gets insulin and brings it back to America and gives it away. Get him to get you some.
Oh shit, that's a great idea. Oh my God, thank you. Yes.
He'll get it for you, and he'll be like, there you go. And as long as he doesn't sell it, it's not trafficking.
Okay. Oh,
so he has to give it away.
Okay, I think he is selling it, but I will also buy him dinner or something, you know.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Transactional. It's fine. We call that bartering.
I like how we're doing this live on like multiple platforms.
Yeah, you're welcome, all of you out there that need insulin. His name follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'll help you out with that. By the way, that is like the most extreme and awesome form of anarcho-capitalism I've ever seen. But and you might be right, he might sell it, but I think it's only for the price he pays. I don't think he profits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah. And so I'm a big fan of his. I don't want to say his name on YouTube. I do remember it now, but I don't want to say it on YouTube because I don't want to get him in trouble.
I mean, he's tweeting it. He tweeted it to Bernie Sanders, but sure.
That's true. He did. That's fair. But anyway, like that's great. So if you don't have Twitter, don't get it. It's a hellscape. If you do have Twitter, follow me or follow Stacia, and we can get you in touch with this guy to get your insulin for not $8,000 or whatever it costs now in America.
It's $12. He's getting it and selling it for $12.
Yeah, and how much is it here? Like
100.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
because it's the same thing.
Exactly. It's FDA approved. It's made in the U.S.
And then shipped to Mexico, and now he's got to go down there and get it and bring it back. Exactly. For less money.
It's crazy.
Our trade deals are nonsense. Anyway. See, if you had free trade, that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But we don't have free trade. Yeah. That's all lies.
No, I agree. Yes.
Anyway, so
I mean, in the healthcare article, I looked up the FDA. They literally say you can't bring in medicine if it's being marketed here. Like, if they're selling it here,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's 100% profit-driven protections. That's all it is.
Yep.
Especially like the FDA is not supposed to be looking out for pharmaceutical companies. They're supposed to be looking out for the people. Here's the problem. Everyone that runs the FDA or works there bounces back and forth between pharmaceutical companies. Every change of administration, they're just like, oh, well, I'm going to go make a couple $1 million over here. And then another administration, now I'll go back to the FDA and make a couple $100,000, but I got a few mil in the bank. It's all good. I hate our system of government. It is the dumbest system maybe ever derived. Like, when they're like, oh, well, no. Democracy is stupid and it should be abolished. Democracy is stupid. And I can prove to any person living in America, they don't support democracy. They don't. I can prove it. I've done it like over almost 3,000 times on Twitter.
We're a republic. We're not a democracy.
Yeah, but that's not what people say. They go, well, our democracy is being damaged. And I'm like, good. Because democracy is stupid. You don't have the right to vote away my rights. Fight me. You know what I mean?
Interesting. I see your point.
Anyway, so we're going to shift gears a little here, and we're going to talk about West Coast swing dancing.
Oh, fun.
So you obviously have traveled around the world doing this. You also do this, I guess, as often as you can. One of the things that I didn't know about it that I found very interesting is that they do they do these dances where you don't know who your partner's going to be. You just get paired up, and then you just got to go for broke.
Yes. And
how does that work?
So those are the ones that you get points on. So there's a point system organized by the World Swing Dance Council, and there's newcomer, novice, intermediate, advanced, all-star, which is like semi-pro, or a lot of, like, pretty much if you're all-star, you teach, and then champion. And champion, you get to politically. And
All right.
so,
no corruption to see here, folks.
Yeah. And so the way you get points is through Jack and Jill's. So you draw a partner randomly and you dance to 3 songs, different genres. Usually there's 1 blues, 1 slow song, and 1 fast song. And yeah, you just dance with them. And it's because West Coast Swing is a social dance. And so they're trying to recreate that social dance,
that
like
camaraderie.
and to like test your skills at social dancing, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So,
right. So like back in the day where the guy would just walk up and be like, hello, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, as opposed to, I found that interesting. I did a little research for all the guys out there. I'm not proud of myself for this. But I needed to speak with Stacia with some idea of what she's talking about. And I found it interesting. It's the only professional dance circumstance that I could find that does that. Everyone else is like, basically, you know, to get to the professional level, it's partners. They work together for years. They only dance with each other. You said something interesting on another show that I watched, that you said you like dancers you've never danced with. You feel like you do better with them. How's that work?
I think it's because I have no expectations, and I expect them to be good, maybe even, I don't know. And so I just come into it trusting them. And yeah, just so there's like a secret language, or like an invisible, you know, kinesthetic language that we use to communicate. And so you have to really be present in your body and paying attention, you know, to everything you feel. And so I think when I'm dancing with someone I know, I'm in my head more, and I'm like, you know, trying to analyze and think, and I bet they're going to do this, and, you know, all of that. So it's easier with someone who I just don't know, and I just have to listen, you know. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Your future ex-husband's in the chat, so that's good. Just thought I'd throw that out there for you. So is that all the dance you do, or you do salsa and stuff too, right?
Yeah. I started with ballet when I was really little in preschool, and then got into ballroom when I was 16 and taught ballroom at a few studios, and got into salsa social dancing while I was teaching ballroom, and then found West Coast Swing social dancing. And actually, there are 2 kinds of West Coast Swing. So there's like the ballroom style that was like codified. You know, they made like names for all the moves and stuff, and, you know, it's kind of set in stone from the like 50s, 60s. But street West Coast Swing has been evolving since that time and is like totally different. It's a completely different dance. And so you have to be careful if you're going to try to take lessons. Like, don't just go to a ballroom studio, because they will fuck you up.
That's funny. Did you take professional lessons for that, or did you just wing it and learn it on your own?
Well, I started with ballroom West Coast Swing, and then found, you know, street West Coast Swing, and took some lessons. I've, you know, taken private lessons and group classes, and invested in that a bit. Yeah. And
now you teach it yourself, huh?
Yeah.
So you're an all-star.
No, I'm not. I'm advanced. And I was working on becoming all-star right before COVID. So I had been in Asia all of 2019 pretty much. And I went to some events, but it's hard to get points in Asia because you get points based on how many people you're competing against.
Right.
And, you know, there just aren't many advanced dancers out there. And also they're all really good, because they're just training and barely getting a chance to compete. So they're like, yeah, super good. But then I came back to the US and I was trying to go to as many events as I could. And so I got like third and second, but then other than that, I didn't place. So yeah, but it's like a lot of points that you need to get to.
So next year.
So, yeah. As soon as, well, events are picking up this year already.
Really?
We have a vaccine only event happening in Texas. And we have a masks optional event happening in Arizona. So
see, that'd be more my style.
So there's some conflict, and I'm a little worried that like the community is going to be super fractured, and just people are like up in arms about the Arizona event. Whereas I'm a little bit like about actually multiple people have messaged me about the vaccine only event, and they're like, what do you think about this? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said before, I don't care if people want to get the vaccine. I say go for it. Just know that you're the research. Like,
sure, yeah.
So
but I mean, not everyone is able to get a vaccine, and I don't know if they're making exceptions for people who have had COVID. I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. I don't think anyone has any. One of the biggest problems in this entire situation is there's never been a conclusive messaging strategy of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so they changed their minds. I mean, Dr. Fauci, he never even knows what he said. He's like, oh, this thing one day, this and that, then, and it's that confuses people. And when you confuse people, you lose their trust. And if you lose their trust, it's nearly impossible to get it back.
Yeah.
I see that as a big problem for the whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I really loved Fauci early on, and then I don't like him so much now. And I saw a YouTube video of like another scientist in the 1990s, just ripping Fauci. He was just like, he's just administrative, like he doesn't even understand the science. He's just gonna like repeat what, the political line is or whatever. Like it was brutal, but it was also like, holy shit, is he still like this? Because
it's creepy to me that people call him Dr. Fauci, because I'm like, this dude hasn't seen a patient since med school. Like, he's just a government doctor.
Yeah.
And I don't trust any doctor. Like, what is it? What's that line? Those that can't do, teach. That seems like Dr. Fauci to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, like, I want to know, have you actually seen this virus under a microscope, or are you just seen it on like data sheets? Because I'm gonna bet the over-unders that he's like, I'm not getting anywhere near that thing. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But the other problem too is every time doctors have attempted to say something different from the WHO, the CDC, or whatever's coming out of Fauci's mouth, they get banned.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That makes people trust you even less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's not how science is supposed to work.
Yeah. Definitely.
This is almost feels like we're back to the days where it's like, well, actually, the sun doesn't revolve around Earth. The Earth revolves around the sun. And they're like, heretic. And then they kill him.
Exactly.
Almost what we're back to, it seems like.
Yeah.
And that worries me, because then what's the next thing that they're like, well, we're going to say that thing's terrible. And you're like, wait a minute. I'm very disappointed in this virus. I was looking forward to zombies that we didn't get. I mean, we kind of got zombies.
Maybe the vaccine or, something.
Fingers are crossed that, we're going to get that zombie apocalypse at some point.
I know you're prepared. I'm not prepared over here. So.
Well, you're not allowed to prepare in California. You're going to have to run. Don't get bit on the way out. So that's funny. So I like. Okay, we're gonna go back to second look for a minute.
Can I clarify about the dance events? Just I feel like I was more critical of the vaccine one, like the vaccines only, but really it's a complicated thing because yeah, it's gonna be really tough to. I don't know. I didn't want to take an opinion on either of those.
It is
I feel like.
And I can understand where people are going to fall in their own situation. So like when you said that it's, it concerns you about the future, like that makes sense to me, because if people are like, I don't want to take that, a lot of people are going to be like, well, I don't want to dance with you. That makes sense to me.
Exactly.
And I'm not passing judgment on anyone either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do you know what I mean? Like, like I said, I actually drove my mother-in-law to get her second shot.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so I'm not anti-vax. I just don't want to be part of your research. That's
like, I want people to be informed.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, I want to know where the Bernie Bros are. What's up with all this my body, my choice stuff? Where's the argument? You know what I mean? So they fell out.
Good point.
Fell out. I'm not happy about
we lost them.
Well, they got their warmongering Joe Biden back, so they're all good. Anyway, so next week's going to be interesting, I think, for America, because I think they're going to try to burn half of it down. What do you think?
What? Wait, why? I feel like I missed something.
Well, because that cop in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that is. My over under on a riot in Minnesota is like 95% there will be, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So the problem is that we have a hive mentality in America now. That if they start rioting, other people in other cities would be like, well, yeah, let's do that too. And then I'm like, oh, here we go. So I'm pretty worried about that.
That's a good point.
Where I live, they ain't nobody doing shit here. Like our sheriff will bust your shit if you try that thing.
I see. Downtown LA will probably get crazy, but I'm far enough away. I think I'll be fine.
You hope.
I do hope.
I mean, you also just told everyone, like, I'm a burb girl. I'm probably safe. It's fine. I don't know. What are your thoughts on last year? All the mostly peaceful protesting that went on. You live, I guess, not in a city, but pretty close to a large metropolis. Why does anyone live in a city anymore? You cannot stack that many people on top of each other and it be safe.
I feel like LA is the worst city I've ever been to yet.
I agree with you on that 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's gross. Like everything smells like pee and there's trash everywhere and homeless people just lying like dead bodies. Like I was there the other day and I was like, oh shit. Like I thought it was I'm sorry, but like you just
it just makes me laugh because Gavin Newsom just tweeted out yesterday how California is the model for the entire country to solve their homelessness problem, and I'm like, what state do you live in? Because you might be the governor of California, but you're not in California if you believe that.
Oh my gosh!
I swear to God, he did. I swear to God, I'll send it to you.
Wow, he is
later.
Delusional. Oh my gosh. Oh, now I want to tell you the story of recently I got locked into a homeless encampment. I'm
sorry, what?
Yeah, so I was going to take yoga pictures at this cool there's like this hiking trail kind of thing along a riverbed And so you can drive there. There's a parking area and there's like bathrooms, and apparently there's water there. And so a homeless encampment has like grown around this bathroom.
It's organic. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in the wilderness, so they're not
Wait, so
bothering.
the bathroom is what attracted him?
Yeah, because there's water and there's toilets.
So better than San Francisco where they just shit on the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So they had like tents, they had a bunch of tents, and there were some RVs and stuff, and it was like a homeless encampment, like they had a little city going, and it's kind of in the wilderness, it's by this riverbed.
Right.
And so when I first drove up, I've been there before a few years ago. I was worried, like, what am I driving into? It looked like a little city. So I drove to towards the back of the parking lot. And I was like, should I get out? I decided I would. So I got out and I went and I did my yoga video thing. And then I was walking back, and there were just homeless people here and there kind of meandering on the trail. And this guy came up to me and he was like, hey, are you okay? Like, maybe can I walk with you? Because the sun was starting to set, and he was like, the other day, a homeless guy with a machete came and attacked my bike and like tried to steal it from me. And that guy got arrested, but then he got released right away. So he could be back. So
seems reasonable.
Yeah, so he's like, let me just walk with you. And so, yeah, I was like, I hope you're not the machete guy.
I hope there's not some like weird Dexter thing happening right now.
Right? So yeah, thankfully he was fine. He walked me to my car. I get in, I'm like driving away, so relieved, as the sun is starting to, really set. I get out and the gate had closed. It was locked.
No.
Yeah, so there were a couple people there by the gate, like a homeless guy. So I asked him for, advice, and he said, well, there's a number, but there is a secret way out. So he told me the secret way, and I tried calling the number. It was a sheriff's department, and they said they could send someone, but they didn't know how long it would be. And I'm like, okay, the sun is going down. I'm locked in. If I'm going to do the secret way, it has to be now. So I did the secret way. So basically what you had to do, you drive to the very back of the parking lot. You drive up onto the trail. There's 4 police cars only. So you drive up onto the trail. You're driving on the trail past the bikers and the hikers. You drive under the bridge. You pass under the freeway. And then on the other side, there's like you off-road it. You're driving past some cars and homeless camps there. And then you get up to the road, and there's like a cut in the wire, and you can get onto the road.
Nice.
So I did that. Maybe did that. Maybe. Probably
possibly
not.
Did that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, like
I know LA's really bad, and it's crazy to me it's crazy that Newsom would even tweet that out, because I'm like, dude, there's video.
Yeah. I mean, every time I go to LA, it's worse. Like,
people are leaving California in droves, and he's like, no, everything's fine here. And then he said something about repurposing hotels into homeless housing or whatever. And I'm like,
interesting.
That's not working, bro.
I have seen they were building some like tiny homes for homeless people.
Yeah.
But they also just had a confrontation where they kicked out a bunch of homeless people from the park, like Griffith Park or something. And, they had like a huge conflict with the cops there. So I would not say things are okay, but
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious to me because he tweeted that, and I was like, San Francisco has a poop app.
Seriously?
Yeah, I swear to God. How do you not know this? You live in California. You get an app on your phone that tells you where the human poop is.
Oh my
in the city of
God.
San Francisco. Now, the
What?
downside is the entire map is brown
Yeah. What?
because they just poop everywhere. They don't care.
Oh my gosh.
So that doesn't seem like you've got this thing under control to
Yeah.
me. It
So
sounds like
have you seen the
shit's going
Babylon?
wrong.
Yeah, shit's going right. Have you seen the Babylon Bee video of Gavin Newsom? They made an animated short. It's
No.
hilarious.
Well, now I'm gonna have to look that up later.
Yeah, look it up. It's just it's Newsom going around California, and there's like vultures and homeless people, and you know everything's like burned down, and he's like, we can open now. Let's get back in.
That's funny.
It's amazing. I think he's singing and like dancing, and it's beautiful, but terrible.
Oh,
but yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. We are coming up on an hour now, so
Yes,
we will probably let it go there, and then we'll have you back at some point when you have time. Tell everyone where they can find you. I got your Twitter running on the banner, and it's all in the description. But
Awesome.
is your site up yet? I didn't know.
So there's a coming soon page where you can go subscribe. So definitely go subscribe now. And we're hoping to do a soft opening in May and then like a full launch in June.
Nice.
So yeah, subscribe now and then you'll get notified of everything. And you
Right
can find me on Twitter at Original Stacia. I'm on Clubhouse at Shibi-chan. I didn't realize I couldn't change it later.
By the way, that also means that she owns a phone made by slave children in China.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, but Clubhouse is now for Android as well.
Oh, they finally opened it up.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, then I'll be waiting for my invite.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you one. There, yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
love
my phone was
Clubhouse.
made by slave children too, but I paid a lot less money for it, so I care less.
Okay. Right. Wow.
Stacia, this has been really fun. What is the name of the website?
Secondlook.news.
Okay.
Mm.
Nice. Very well.
With-
I will add that in the description for when the videos, to be seen by whoever sees it.
Awesome.
I like to tweet them out a few times and see what happens.
Sounds good.
But you're the hot new commodity in the podcast world, so I figured, well, I better talk to her too, I guess.
Oh, thanks. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. I appreciate it, Stacia.